and the goal is to bring you your next favorite band.
Sweet, that intro is my new favorite band. That's phenomenal. I'm so excited to be on.
Yeah. I heard a rumor that you might be able to play that song live today.
You heard correctly. Yes.
Excellent. So,
good enough for rock.
I don't know when I rock out here on your next favorite band show.
and listen, it's going to be everybody's favorite band.
Phil, you weren't supposed to make me get all... God almighty,
But this
Phil.
is why we do it.
Like, seriously. I gotta gather myself. All right, go ahead.
Okay.
Welcome to your next favorite band. That's both the show title and our promise to you. We here at Stereophilia Studio are tireless in our pursuit of finding incredible, genre-defiant artists who are either a hot, up-and-coming band or a group that has been delivering for years but have flown under the radar. Tonight, we have soaring choruses and uplifting lyrics from Galen Deery and The Reason Why. Each month, we will bring you live streams, audio podcasts, and perhaps even a live concert where you can listen to the stories and hear the music of artists personally curated by us based on what we feel will be worthy of your time. Be sure to subscribe and tune in to each episode because the possibilities are endless and you never know who will be your next favorite band. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. I am your host, Philip Reese.
And I am your co-host, James McLaine.
And you are listening to...
Your next favorite band.
Thank you so much, James.
Always a pleasure.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks again for joining. I always love bringing in the guest co-host, especially when there's, like a connection to the guest. Like you're connected to, familiar with, and... know Galen Deery very well.
Yeah, I've known him longer than you've known him. Go figure.
That's true. That's very true.
Although he probably doesn't really, he knows, but he doesn't really know. I'm sure we'll get to that at some point.
Sure. and one of the things that we often say in this kind of opening section is that I saw some live music. But you did too. Just a couple weeks back was our No Planet B Jamboree. Thank you so much for being there for that.
It was really great. I had seen some of the artists. I hadn't seen them all. What a beautiful day and this great new location. I mean, you get spoiled with weather like that, but it was.
Yes, we've been so lucky and spoiled, blessed, whatever words you want to use. 2 out of the 3 years that was the weather. Mm-hmm. And then, like we said, we were able to bring the Jamboree to the Arts Quest campus this year, which gave us that opportunity to move inside if we needed to. But if you don't, nothing better than basically starting the outdoor music season as early as you possibly can. So that was how that was. But Drew in the Blue, Roberta Faceplant, Shane Guaret. It was an awesome day. Actually, you and I went to see Shane Guaret when we first found him. He opened for Quinn Sullivan just down at Sellersville Theater and loved it so much we got him on the show. And then he's just continuing to rip out amazing tunes. And we asked him to be our headliner, and there he was. It was amazing.
Yeah, no, it was great. I did a little merch purchase from him. So
nice, very cool. That's the best way to support them. But we're not going to share anything here. We're about to get some of that stuff edited, and we'll probably share some highlights soon. But we do want to kind of keep tonight's show rolling. The other live music I had seen was right around that same time. Galen Deery, our guest tonight, he had his album release show for his brand new release, ESA, capital letters ESA, and it was an awesome show. And I'm going to play my favorite song from this album at the end because I just happened to capture it. And I started recording and he gave this really nice thank you to the people who had helped produce the album and the story behind it. So the fact that I happened to capture it and it was his closer that night. So I think it's a fair way to close this episode out as well.
Totally. If he could do it, you could do it.
But sometimes I like bringing on just some newsy things, just to kind of share. And sometimes it's not music, and sometimes it's something it could be funny, it could be whatever. But this one is more like, in a time in the world we're in today, I figure good news is worthy of sharing. So I kind of thought this was neat. And I also try not to always go local, but this happens to be local, and I hope it's happening near you as well. So this is a recent story that came out from Allentown, that the city council voted to establish it as a safe haven for LGBTQ plus families and gender affirming care. So they went out of their way in this time of losing rights or having things taken away or what have you. They passed Resolution R48 to ensure that this space was going to be safe for the LGBTQ community and their families. So I just thought that was important to share. I thought that was a kind of, good news that perhaps gives people some hope, and also makes people aware of that there are things that we can do. Again, we try not to be political in this, but I didn't know that treating people with, respect and, empathy would be suddenly a political statement, but yet here we are.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. Like, that's the biggest surprise. It's like, wow. And I wonder how many other communities have felt that, they need to show that support to their fellow community members. Yeah,
and I think this is also the thing is, like, maybe you're in an area that this is either up for vote, or politicians that are up for vote, or that type of stuff. Is like, you have to make sure you get out to vote and be heard, so that you make sure that the most important values and attributes are what you're seeing get out there. So on the flip side of this, just real quick, what you have here is also the government is suggesting to defund there is a suicide hotline. So you know how you can call 911 if you're in an emergency. You can actually call 988 if you're in a moment of crisis and considering self-harm. And it's an incredible offering. And Ari from Backline, back during Listen to the Dissonance, gave a really nice description of what it's about and what it isn't. And so that was really cool. And now, unfortunately, it looks like it might be in danger of being yet another area of cut for funding. And it's just it's kind of a head scratcher to think you would take away services that you're providing to keep people safe and healthy.
Yeah, talk about basic roles of a government.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, I just figured, again, we're not trying to be political. We're just trying to, these are important topics to us elsewhere in the year. And we just thought it was important to kind of share some good news and some other stuff that, again, make sure your voice is being heard in whatever community that you're in. So wanted now to move over to Music Fest. Music Fest got announced. They released, I think it was about 320 bands are now posted. We don't know days or times yet. I'm sure that's still in flux at best. But as far as the bands who are booked and officially on the lineup, there's over 300 of them now announced, and it's kind of exciting. We're not yet ready to dive in or provide any kind of analysis just yet. We are purely just excited that it's happening. It's kind of like there.
Hey Phil, out of curiosity, because I didn't catch that, did they make a PR announcement? Is it posted somewhere? Like,
yes, it is. It is part of the Music Fest 2025 website, and the area that you'll find it in is it's lit. Hey, and you know what? Let me just pull it up real quick. It shouldn't be too hard to bring up. Music Fest 2025. So let me share this. Music Fest 2025. All right, can you see that?
Yeah.
Cool. So if you go to lineup, and then you go to, so you can see here, if you go into artists A to Z, this is where they now are. So this is the full, not the full lineup. This is probably, I guess it's 3/4. They usually get to about 420 bands. So this is where you'll start to find, something of a start point to this. But you can see it's nice and lengthy, and there's lots of stuff to start to dig into. As usual, we will develop a playlist that has all of these, usually about 2 tracks per band, that you'll be able to come to the Next Fave Band Spotify channel and pull up a Music Fest Free Stages 2025 playlist. It usually goes 24 to 28 hours. But it's good to kind of just throw it out there and have it on so that you can do your research. It's what we do here. And so at however and wherever we can provide assistance in navigating over 500 shows across 10 days, that's what we love to do. But anyway, it's just exciting to see that out there. The Levitt Steel Stack stage just got announced of officially who's on what days, and a lot of other this summer festivals. So actually, the last episode of May, it'll come out, I think it's the 28th. We do that triple collaboration, 2 other podcasts locally that do music, Dan Drago from 25 O'Clock Pod and Nate Runkle from Yo That's My Joan. The 3 of us just come on and we kind of talk about the shows that are coming up this summer. We bring on a bunch of guests who are part of those festivals and do the bookings. And so it's kind of just a helpful point in the direction of the different things that are out there, some ticketed, some free. We're lucky here in Bethlehem to have so much free that's available to us, which is just incredible. So we always like to kind of shine a light on all of that in addition to the musicians that will be there.
Oh, it's one of our favorite times of year.
It's exactly right. So yeah, and our guest tonight, Galen Deery, very often on the Music Fest list. He isn't yet, but like I said, very often there's still probably somewhere between 80 and 100 bands that would still be added to that list. So I'll keep my fingers crossed that he gets added, because when the local bands, because he is from here in the Lehigh Valley, when the local bands play at Music Fest, you get some sort of extra added hometown headliner energy to it. So that is always exciting to see. But in the meantime, tonight's interview was done on location. Galen was doing some recording with the Zeptepi Studios. And the gentleman's name is Ryan Walsh, who's connected with Zeptepi. It's basically like a recording studio that has video as well. And they were just kind enough to record something that he wanted for his stuff, but then gave it over to us to play here tonight. So you're going to see a extremely high quality level of video and recording here, more than what you typically see. Like as you can see here, I moved to a different space and I don't even have my pictures on the wall yet here. So I kind of wanted to do that in a contrast. I meant to do it this way.
Highly skilled as far as, just thinking ahead that you've done. It's really impressive.
Yes. Thank you, James. Thank you for recognizing
the drama of it all.
Correct. But before we get to the interview, we're going to do our BetterHelp sponsorship ad, as well as then play some of his music before actually heading into the interview. But you get a flavor for his latest release and an incredible song that was I think his first single off of that album. But here, check out BetterHelp. Hey, music lovers. Before we dive into today's episode, I want to tell you about our sponsor, BetterHelp. More and more mental health topics of depression, anxiety, addiction, and more are coming up in our interviews with artists and musicians who are brave enough to share them and the music that came out of the journey. Those songs may even help us feel a little bit less alone as we work through the same struggles, but at the end of the day, we need more than just a great song. We need therapy, and that's where BetterHelp can assist. BetterHelp connects you with a therapist who can help you find your path. Instead of being stuck in the endless loop of questioning yourself, you can talk through questions, concerns with someone who's trained to help you find real answers. As you know, our Listen to the Dissonance shows help to create a safe space for vulnerable conversations, but not everywhere can feel that way. Since BetterHelp is accessed via their app, you can explore your options and conduct your sessions in the comfort of your own home or wherever you feel is best for you. After you download the app, you'll get started by filling out a questionnaire and get matched with a therapist in as little as a couple of days. And if that's not feeling right, you can easily switch to a different therapist at any time at no extra cost. They carefully make sure the therapists on the platform are well qualified, and their customer support team is there to help you with any questions. With over 7,000 reviews and a 4.5 rating on Trustpilot, BetterHelp is a platform that you can trust. We at Your Next Favorite Band believe in breaking the stigma around mental health, and going to therapy is a sign of strength, not weakness. And with BetterHelp, it's easier than ever to take that first step towards feeling better. Click the link here or go to betterhelp.com/nextfaveband and you'll get 10% off your first month of therapy. That's betterhelp.com/nextfaveband. It's okay to ask for help. Contact BetterHelp today. So now we'll take a listen to some brand new music from Galen Deery and The Reason Why. Take a listen to Anyone Like You.
'Cause if I'm being honest, I wouldn't wait. But I promise I won't be late. 'Cause life is like an ocean, it's hard to keep it from feeling blue. But I never found anyone like you. A lot of people say that you can't be afraid of living, but I never found anyone. Wide eyes, open parachutes.
Galen Deery and the band Reason Why make noise you didn't know existed, pushing the energy of the 90s James Addiction and Incubus era and combining it with songwriter vibes like John Bellion, Tosh Sultana, and Coldplay create a familiar but new sonic pathway. Soaring choruses, uplifting lyrics, and shredding guitar solos fuse rock, reggae, pop, folk, and cultural sounds to create a unique, original expression. You can hear this style in the song Hope off the 2025 album ASAP.
Anyone like you. A lot of people say that you can't be afraid of living, but I never found anyone.
All right, let's take a listen to the interview with Galen Deery, recorded at
Like, when
Zeptepi
you're around me, it
Studios.
smells like music. You know what I mean? You know?
Yes, yeah.
Like, there's no denying that. And when you hear this record, it's like,
I feel like your sound is universal and timeless. The other element about your music is it's so full. Like, I feel like every time I listen to it, whether it's you playing solo or you as a full band, there could easily be 28 people on stage, including stilt walkers and giraffes and elephants. Like, there's this element to your music that I had always listened to it before I saw you actually perform it, and I was shocked it was a 4-piece. You know, it was like, in a good way. Like, I was just like, wow, they're just able to just fill this entire space.
maybe we should get a giraffe.
Could be a giraffe in it. But, like, I don't know. Like, it reminds me of that classic 90s festival type stuff where it was like the Horde Festival and Rusted Root and Blues Traveler, where it was like this spectacle and like you just never knew what was coming up next. I saw like Ziggy Marley, you know, it's just like, and it's all this different stuff where it's like it's in that vibe, but with that Sufism, that new age, that like that kind of special element of trying to find peace, find love, find hope. So it's a really awesome combination of things.
Thanks, Phil. Yeah, we try to put some sparkles and glitter in there to keep it fresh and real. I mean, I'm very, I've considered for a long time like the forest to be my church in a way, because there's no ceiling. When there's a ceiling, I feel like for me it cuts
restricted.
It cuts off my connection to what a higher power or higher form of intelligence.
I feel very similarly. Grew up in the Christian faith and have since, basically I do a fair amount of hiking. And the most spiritual and the most kind of inspired I was spiritually was whenever I was on a hike, whether it was woods or more of the desert of like Utah or whatever like that. And it's always just like being made to feel so small in a great way. Like the humility of that.
It is a humility, man.
Right.
And it also is like there's a connectedness. Like I am not here just trampling. Like I'm here contributing.
Correct.
What does that mean? Like
one tiny element of all of this, but just as important as anything else.
Yeah.
And that smallness too was not just in size, because obviously you're out there, whether it's Grand Canyon or Zion Park, where there's just massive monolithic structures of rock, but also in time, because that had to be 250 million years of a river cutting through this rock or more.
Yeah, and like I try to keep that element in the music that comes through me. It's just like rooted in nature.
Yeah.
You know, very inspired by the wind and the forest, as like cliche and heady and like dreamlike that could be. It really has carried through the whole way, you know.
That first album you put out is Spirit of the Redwoods.
It is, yeah.
And so right there you're really grabbing a hold of that nature,
Yeah, that's a timepiece. The songs they're very pure. There's a lot of mention of nature in the lyrics.
Totally.
And like as time has gone on, that has been so much more special to me that album was made. And part of me wants to like take some of those songs and like give them new life.
I would love to hear that.
Yeah.
That sounds very cool.
Whether it be live or whether it be like bring it back to a new studio producer and like fill it in a little bit more.
You and I even just talked about recently where some of your genius or music creation is impossible to put into record. Like it has to be live almost. Where like there's even certain songs or certain things that you're probably thinking of where it's like, well, I can't track that. Someone's just got to experience it.
Yeah.
Which I think is a very cool thing too.
Well, I don't know about genius, man.
It totally is. It absolutely is. You always do this. Like every time we chat, I add superlatives and you try to downplay it, and so I'm just going to keep doing it so that you get. It's probably a comfort level. You need to hear it more often, is what it is.
All right,
but
well, cool. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank
But there's the I always call it the gateway song. Every band has a song that is usually like the first step into becoming a big fan.
Yeah.
That album has Shine.
Yes.
So I think that's such a it just has that element of just pulling you right in and taking you on a journey.
Hell yeah, man.
Even has Sufi quotes in it.
It
It has mantras in it.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
So there's just a very cool journey you could go on by going through early. So let's even ask this question. The name Mystic Fool, where did that come from? Because it was almost a persona you were creating at the time.
Yeah, Mystic Fool has seen the light and I've blessed it on its journey now.
It had a good run.
It did. And
served a purpose.
Yeah, part of me misses that.
Sure.
I think because it felt really authentic to me.
Yeah.
Like I felt like there was this juxtaposition between like mysticism, where it's like very centered in Zen and like the center of the pendulum, and then I also identify heavily with like the archetype of the fool.
Sure.
And like in the tarot deck, there's the Fool card.
Or the Hanged Man. Or whatever. Yeah.
And the imagery on that card is just a young, frolicking man, like stepping off of a cliff with his knapsack, like with like a flower in his hair, just no worries in the world, just full faith that like his next step is blessed. And like I so identify with that. So that's like the Mystic Fool was just like speaking to these two parts of myself, and like I think in between that is where music found its way through.
Yeah.
Is where God found its way into me.
Yep.
And then years and years go by and we're doing music and we're jumping all over the place, touring and stuff, and like the name Mystic Fool came up in my head while I'm cruising through Utah, funny enough, like you were saying.
Sure.
And we're driving and Hannah's in the passenger seat. And I like, Mystic Fool, that's the name. And like, it was really instant. And then I brought it to the guys and we started going as that for a while. Put out a record with that name. And you know, it did a lot of good. It got me to a spot in myself. And I think that where I'm at now is even more authentic because of that step that I took.
Absolutely understand that, like where it was part of your evolution, where you needed to almost have this. There's plenty of performers who have like this
an alias,
right? This kind of almost character that they're going to play on stage. Father John Misty or whomever. There's a bunch. It's not disingenuous. It's not fake. It's just this is who I am on stage, or this is who created this music. Is this version of me? And I just always thought it was pretty cool. But I don't doubt that it has a expiration date.
I wouldn't say an expiration date. It had a ceiling for how far, for where I wanted to actually go. So like, Mystic Fool still exists. You can
Yeah.
still listen to all that music.
I love that you did that.
And we still play the songs live.
Right.
We still like carry a couple of the songs because they're sick
They're
tunes,
they're
man. They're
super
sick.
jams.
Yeah, they're
Bangers.
super jams.
Yes.
And like we chop out and we're like ripping. It's
Yes,
sick.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I have something I want to like connect dots on there in a second, but I did want to go back to one other element of being 14, 15, 16.
Please.
Because I think there's an element to also why this might have played a role is mental health and depression. Because I remember a conversation we've had previously where you shared that it got dark, but you saw light at the end of the tunnel, and you now feel almost that you owe it to those other people who are maybe in the dark place to show them that there is light.
If I just lived a different lifestyle, and as colorful as it was lonely, and because of that, like I would seek affirmation and acknowledgement
and validation.
Yeah, from outside of myself. And I got involved in some gnarly activities and temptations, and like it was there were all of those elements like exploded inside of me, and I had no way of releasing it. And so that resulted in some behavior that hurt my body, on purpose.
Right.
And so many people struggle with stuff like that.
Right.
And so, when self-harm arrives, it's like it becomes a release point, and then that becomes an addiction as well.
Yes.
So like, I found myself caught at this point where all of these things were happening mostly by my own decisions, by my own choices.
That's got to be a hard realization too.
It is, man.
Yeah.
It is. And you don't realize it until like you come close to the edge, and that happened.
Yeah.
And I think you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And like recovering from that experience was one of the most beautiful seasons of my life.
Yeah.
I started experimenting with the tools and medicines of psychedelics, and that erased a lot of my other substance issues because I became curious and open-minded, and a lot of my neural pathways were changing, and new possibilities were becoming apparent, And I started listening to Alan Watts' lectures on YouTube, and I discovered the Hare Krishna community and chanting and mantra work, and then all of this was happening simultaneously while participating with this Sufi community in California, and so that was really nourishing and nurtured me on this pathway of light, as it were. My life changed, and I started writing music. And I started writing music because I felt like so many people find themselves in this dark place, as you mentioned, and don't really have any solid thing to lean on or solid way out, or they don't taste something that could like give them enough hope to keep going, And because I found that for myself, I felt that it was a calling, and I felt purpose. I felt a sense of service, a sense of being useful, of like, okay, I can contribute. I can write music and participate in like this uplifting, spiritual like shift that I can also feel that's happening in the world. So that was a little long-winded, but
no, I think I admire the bravery and the vulnerability of sharing stories like that. I think what you talked about is like there are people out there who are in these places struggling or know someone who is, and they love them and they want to help them and they feel helpless. And when they can hear a story like this, I think the biggest thing that I've learned is this sense of being alone. I'm the only one who feels this way. I'm the only one who's made these terrible mistakes. I'm the only one. So now I have no hope, or I feel unworthy of love, or I don't know how to get out. But then they hear this, and then they listen to the music, and they're like, okay, I can get to tomorrow. And then we'll worry about tomorrow. And I just think that that's such an important aspect of the stories, is these real, very real things that historically have been whispered about or not talked about because we don't admit that we have these things. And it's like, enough of that bullshit. Like, time to talk about it so that we can acknowledge that we've all been there and we all need help and we're all worthy of love. And so then celebrate through music, because not everybody's ready to talk about it. But if they can not feel alone for a day or two, maybe they'll be ready to talk tomorrow.
My therapist said, be a love finder, not a fault finder.
Yep.
Because I am my biggest critic constantly, especially as a creative.
Sure.
Day.
But think about in your formative years, you were being told you got to kick off this and you're not worthy of that. And like you've got that inner monologue of crap. It's not your fault. Like everybody was saying, get out.
Yeah. We're so good at being depressed. We're so good at being anxious. We're so good at being alone. We're so good at it.
Yep.
Like, at least give myself a hand for being good at that. And then that, like, it was like, wait a second. It's funny to play with your psychological nature.
Listen, whatever, any port in a storm.
Totally.
Or even, like, you just talked about it again, like this other time. It was light at the end of the tunnel. If that was the light at the end of the tunnel, then there you go. You had now something to walk towards.
Yeah, I think, I'm in another season of that right now. And being honest with myself before I'm honest with anybody else is hard to do.
Sure.
It's hard to do. What I've reflected on, there is a cycle that's taken place inside of me.
Sure.
And what's happening is that I have given trust away. I've given other voices a seat on my shoulder that's louder than my own guidance, my own heart. Other people are smarter. Other people know better. Other people have the answers. So I found myself outsourcing constantly about everything.
Yeah.
Small decisions, and it's caused like a sincere amount of like fragmentation in my own life because I'm learning how to trust myself again. Because when I found that light before, that kind of guided me into the colorful season that had happened like years ago. When I started writing music, I knew what I wanted. I knew where I was going. And then as that grew, and it did, more and more people started seeing that, and naturally, they want to help.
Sure.
And they want to give advice, and they want to give guidance, and like recommend things, and help me along the way, or, maybe you shouldn't do that. Maybe you shouldn't play ukulele. Maybe you should play guitar. Yep. And so like, as that's happening, that's a good thing to keep in mind. Okay, that's a good thing to keep in mind. Okay. And then there just becomes like all
too many voices.
Dude, like, I didn't understand that. Like, there are people who are like in a completely different like level of creativity in the entertainment world.
Oh, big time.
That have voices all day, every day. They see them, they hear them, they feel them, and like it's like an undertow, man.
Sure.
It can like
suck you right under.
Yeah, man. And like, I'm not even doing anything big,
Well, the only thing I was going to caution you on is like when you have light, like if you're in a good place, there are people who don't have it who want it. Not necessarily to take it from you, but they just simply see it and they're like, can I get some of this from you? That there's also these takers. And then there's the other people who are just trying to push you and let me have you be more like this or that. And so it's a very tough thing that I can see where those cycles or that pendulum is going to constantly swing. And then if you do have those, people in your head telling you things that you're not worthy of, it's hard to quiet them down. Yeah. They don't ever go away.
And it gets loud, man.
Yeah.
And so what do? I go to the forest. I go to church.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And I put my bare feet on the ground and I hug a tree. As cliche as it is, man, cliches are true.
Well, they're
Cliches
a cliche
work.
for a reason.
Yes. And hugging a tree is a good thing to do. It is a good thing to do. And you'll never tell me different unless there's poison ivy vines wrapped around right where your face is pressed up against it.
Still a good lesson to learn. Don't do that.
Yeah.
But Mike, the thing about, so as I was like kind of like really taking a moment to take a step back and listen to the music that you've written, this arc of basically 3 albums, if you will. Like there were 2 under Mystic Fool, and then there's now 1 for Galen Deery.
Yes, there is.
Yeah, what I found interesting, the arc of it was massively large, and now coming down to being more harnessed into basically the body of this man. And I feel like it's in reverse of what normally might happen. Is someone might be a singer-songwriter writing about their own life, troubles, heartaches, whatever, and then they build a catalog of music that gets a little bit bigger, and then they get some success, and then it gets huge after that. Whereas I feel like yours have kind of gone in, you had this very large, like larger than life type music that was, of the Redwoods, and then Properties of Zero, where it was like, okay, let's think about that for a while.
Yeah.
But not necessarily focusing on you as an individual. And then now it has gotten there.
Yeah.
And I think it's that shedding of the Mystic Fool is now and what kind of clicked for me here today was in this very formative moment of being in your teens and maybe feeling unworthy, but you're writing this great music. You hitched it to that, this truth that this person saw in you, this holy fool that was a piece of you that you let have that success. And you didn't necessarily feel worthy of it until a certain point in time. At least that's what I'm kind of hearing here, is like you're now letting it be yours for the first time.
I asked Asha, hey Asha, I said, what is a holy fool? What is that? Mm-hmm. And I remember her looking at me and she told me, a fool is one who knows untamed freedom. Like full pendulum swinging, like holy macaroni, man. Like the rainbows are over and like we're grounded, you know? And like so many things in between. And most recently, like, you know, my father passed away. And I remember like my vocal teacher came up to me after a lesson because his father had passed away, and he said that we don't become a man until our father dies. What, like, okay, I gotta sit with that one, you know, because I did not instantly just like, I'm a man now.
Right.
It's been like this, like I spiraled, and I'm like, it's bold for me to say like I'm coming out of that spiral right now, you know. So what do? I outsource my decisions. What do I do? Tell me how to go about this, you know. So like that started really like, I've been using that word fragment, and it's really been doing that. It's like I don't even trust what my decision would be. Sure. So please tell me.
Yeah, just make it for me.
Just make it for me, you know? But then, like, I also have this knowing in myself, or like this, I have a stubbornness and an impulsiveness, you know, that I do know better. But when those voices are arguing, like, a decision is not to be made at that point.
Yeah, because it also could be a more immature version of you that isn't factoring everything in. Yeah, but again, it could serve a purpose of self-preservation.
Correct. And I think that when I make decisions, and when people make decisions, we always try to make the best decision, but life and the world happens, and we can't control what happens.
Yeah.
But we can control. What are the things that we can control?
Our own decisions.
Our actions, our words.
Yeah. That's
it. And our actions influence our thoughts, because our thoughts influence our fucking decisions, man.
Yep.
If my mind is sick and dark right now, reference my list. Okay, I can do any one of these things and it will help.
Mm-hmm.
But the tricky part is that when we're in a dark place, that shadow is so hungry.
Yep.
And I've found that like that dark part of me still exists, you know, and
Yeah,
I haven't.
It does in all of us. I mean,
it does in
like,
all of us, and it hasn't eaten in a long time.
Sure.
So that list gets real blurry
Mm-hmm.
over there, and what gets real bright and shiny is your vices, man.
Yeah.
It's
Well, there's so
all your
much more
vices.
immediate in their gratification.
Yeah.
Whereas those other ones take a long time to, you know, drinking water every day isn't going to make you feel a high.
No, it's not.
It's just going to make you feel way better if you
Yeah.
do it for enough time.
Enough time.
Right.
But what you want when you feel like shit
Yeah.
is to feel good and get rid of that shitty feeling.
Mhm.
So drugs, alcohol, porn, food, TV,
Yep.
scrolling, like
Anything that
socializing.
detaches, yeah.
Anything that detaches us from the experience
Of the pain.
which is the medicine.
Mhm.
The experience of pain and struggle is like where the treasure
Yeah.
is.
Hmm.
And I'm a fucking pirate, man. And I'm hunting for treasure.
So the second album, The Properties of Zero,
Psychedelic as fuck.
it is.
Yeah, it's a good
and you
one.
even told me that the Shaman Part 1, 2, 3 emulates that psychedelic journey of medicine.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah, I mean, it's a 11-minute song to try to depict like hours of an experience. You know, but
The other thing that I connected when I was looking at these three different albums was remembering in college when I had learned about like when you're writing either a novel, you know, or story or what have you, there are three different types of like conflicts. One would be man against themselves, man against nature, or man against the supernatural, or man against man. So there were like four different ones.
yeah.
That's what I even see in this, like, but not necessarily conflict. It was more like the journey or the alignment with each one of these. So even if you just look at it like Spirit of the Redwoods, right there is nature. The Properties of Zero is very much almost godlike or supernatural. And then now, in this one of the more current music is much more about you struggling against yourself and that journey. And that was another element that just like, it's so fun to just sit there and like explore and analyze and, you know, think about this, where these connections happened. And
Yeah.
I just thought it was really pretty awesome stuff.
Getting stronger in my own vision. Because if I'm not super rooted in myself, then it's just, I dissolve, I wither,
Of course.
I burn out.
And also, as a performer, either seeing a performance or listening to the music, people want to,
Yeah.
they want to hear and see that artist, the genius, rooted in themselves. They don't want to see it be something fake or disingenuous. Or, I mean, like, music theory is music theory. Everything's already been done. So if somebody just has the training, can write a song.
Yeah.
What makes it connect with somebody is when it's rooted in their emotion.
Yeah.
And connects with somebody. That's what really makes something quite powerful.
A lesson that I've been learning in that respect, because that's a really good point, is as Properties of Zero came out, the songs were really good and it was getting attention of people who started lending a voice. And I became detached from my own vision because of other people's words. And the nature of music as like a profession is really tricky, and I'll tell you why. It's people want to connect with a genuine and authentic person that they relate to, that they resonate with, that sings words and gives a rhythm and a melody that they enjoy. But the only way for that to connect with somebody else is for it to feel genuine and authentic to me.
Absolutely.
So I'm caught, and many musicians are caught, all musicians and artists are caught in this tricky spot of like, if we are going to make this our profession, the only way that I can sustain it and support myself or my family is if I make money from this. But the only way to make money from this is based on people's opinion
Yeah.
of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And so if people don't like my genuine and authentic expression,
Right. No, I'm not.
then I fragment
Yeah.
again.
Yep.
And I change and I alter and I fit into like this
Mm-hmm.
crux
Mm-hmm.
that like people can start to tell, and I think that like I can start to tell that
Yeah.
like I don't really feel good right now.
Right. Right.
And because I'm in that spot,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not connected to my vision. What do I do? What do I do? Like
Mhm.
asking other people.
Right.
And so at this point, I have given up. I don't seek for music to be my main source. I don't seek for music to provide security and support for me right now.
Right.
It is just my offering.
Mm-hmm.
It is just my offering as who I am. I don't feel that it has to support anything, you know, because I don't want to put that kind of pressure on myself. I don't want to put that kind of
Yeah, I can see
pressure
that.
on people, you know. I don't want there to be this, like, I feel, you know, it's like, as musicians, like, we need people to listen to our music, but music is free to listen to. So I'm not even making an income if you're listening to the music that I put, frankly,
Right.
credit card debt into
Right.
to create because I believe in it and because I like it.
Sure.
You know? And if you're not even paying to listen to it, how could I ever expect it to, like, provide me
Mm-hmm.
a stable, secure future?
Right.
You know? So in no way is that saying that I'm giving up.
No,
Because,
I get it.
like, I am fully committed to this path. But there's no more, like, like, oh, dude.
Right. Now you
this
can just create.
Smells good, you know? Like, when you're around me, it smells like music. You know what I mean? You know?
Yes. Yeah.
Like, there's no denying that.
No.
You know?
It's a vibe.
And when you hear this record, it's like,
Yeah.
damn. You know, I can say that about my own shit because I know, man, I'm so hype on what I've been making, man.
Let's talk about one of the tracks that kind of help us bridge from where we just were with this more kind of, you know, supernatural side of things, where the Golden Door.
Take me there.
So it's a very mantra-like song. It's a very much, I'm going to guess here, it's somewhat inspired or born out of the experience with your father. Is it?
He died all of a sudden, and it's been a hard hit on my family. And the thing that I've struggled with the most, there's a number of things, but one of them is that throughout my time as a songwriter and artist, he would ask me to write him a song because I've written songs for my grandparents, my mom, my brother, many friends, Hannah. Like, there's, you know, most of the songs on this record are written about Hannah.
Yeah,
like, but I never wrote a song for my dad. And it, like, sucks.
Yeah.
Man. Like, he'll never fucking hear it. He'll never hear it. And so I took the song that I was going to shelve, The Golden Door, for a little while. But I reimagined it and I heard it in a different way. That this song is an acknowledgement of my father's life.
Yeah.
It is not written about him. It is an acknowledgement of the way that he lived.
Sure.
And we memorialized him. My brother Simon actually helped to produce the song. We put the last voicemail that I ever received from my dad. He was just checking in on me. He was just calling because he loved being a dad.
Yeah.
And he called me after one of my trips just to check in. And that's what you hear on the song.
I love that. I actually have, my father was sick, and my birthday is January 4th, and he called me and sang happy birthday on a voicemail. And he passed away on the 14th. So 10 days later, he was gone. And every year on my birthday, I still pull up that voicemail. And we I changed phones once and it was gone. And I was like, oh my God. But I had it on a backup on the computer. So like back when like iPhones were newer and you didn't have the trust on stuff, I was like, holy shit, if that's gone, I don't know what I would do. But no, that's really cool. I could tell that was a special thing. I didn't know the full story, so I'm glad you shared that. But
thank you for sharing yours as well, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it is I think that's one of those songs that live is way different than the recording. Like you almost need to listen to it live in order to appreciate the recording, in my opinion. That doesn't take away from people who haven't yet heard it live, but like I think it just unlocks something in hearing it live.
Cheers. Yeah, playing that song live takes me to a cool spot.
Yeah. And your father does hear it.
Cheers, man.
Yeah.
The Golden Door is a notion that Asha talked to me about one morning. We were in her tea house meditating one morning. And the Golden Door is a point that we all come to in life. It's a point that I've come to a couple times that I believe that you have as well, that where we're faced with a decision. But it's not like, do I turn left or do I turn right here? I forget. It's like something catastrophic has happened in my life. And it's relative.
Yeah.
And it happens at different stages in life. Like you can have those existential moments.
Yep.
But the choice, and I love this, the choice is, do we shut down from the world to protect our heart, to protect our soul? Do we shrink? Do we become cold, bitter, short, sarcastic to protect ourselves? Do we cut ourselves off from the possibility of love, of receiving love from another person? Or do we remain open and breathe through the experience of pain and suffering?
Yeah.
Do I stare with a grin into the unknown and spitefully love anyway? Not foolishly, but courageously.
Sure.
Like, I choose love. I choose love here. I choose love here. Because shutting down and going cold is not...
You get stuck. Yeah.
There's mosquitoes there. You know? And I'm trying to fly with eagles.
Yeah.
We walk through the golden door.
Yeah.
We walk toward the one. Toward the one.
Yeah. It's beautiful. It's a great... Not having known the story behind
It's genius.
It is. Listen, I'm going to keep saying it. I think you need to keep saying it. So let's talk about this song, because again, now I think this brings us back to... It takes us through the forest. We walk through the Golden Door. Now we're coming through the forest to come back to now these stories about love and connection to another person. Into the wild.
Into the wild. Let's go.
Yeah. So this song is about someone inviting you into the wild, but I want to use it to bring us to out of the wild.
Yeah.
But what a great song.
What a fucking banger song,
absolutely.
dude. Yeah, that song rules.
Because I find with that one, it's full of surprises.
Yeah.
Like,
Ryan knows that song. Hell yeah, bro. Ryan's over here like, she took me into...
I showed somebody it yesterday.
You did?
Yeah,
Hell yeah, man.
Nice. But tell us a little bit about that song.
Man, I love her to death. All the way through. All the way through, but that girl broke my heart. And at the time, I didn't know that she was going to break my heart. It was all preemptive. A lot of this music was written before the thing happened.
So universe almost.
It's strange to think about.
For
it's strange to think about.
Yeah.
But yeah, she took me into the wild and out of my head. Because I don't want to let you down. It's like, yeah, those lyrics really painted themselves for me. It was very instantaneous. I don't even remember writing those words.
Love that.
It just happened. And a lot of my homies, a lot of my artist friends out there, like, know what I'm talking about.
Sure.
That's magic.
Yeah.
That's God.
Yes.
You know, it's like when we're drawing or painting.
Yeah.
Like, we have these moments where it's like total
You're
channeling.
not in control of it. Yeah, exactly.
They call it a download, right?
Mhm.
A creative, inspirational
You've
download.
tapped into something
Yeah.
special.
And that song was definitely one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And it rips live. And, yeah, dude, that song, yeah.
Tell me about, too, like, it has this album in general, I started with the Golden Door not only for the theme, but also the sound is very similar to where Spear of the Redwoods and Property Zero came from. Mm-hmm. This has a different sound. Like, it's Into the Wild and a lot of the other tracks are more, I'm not going to find the word, electronic? I don't know, like, it's
produced.
Right.
For sure.
So it must be a different element of your creative journey that you're also playing on a different palette here.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that you brought that up, man. It's like being in the studio with a group of producers who have worked together for years, knowing what they're doing. They know their DAWs inside and out. And I'm in there with dreadlocks in a rainbow van in the wintertime off the recommendation of my homie. And, like, I play the ukulele and I write songs about trees and love. And, like, these guys know music. Like, they're prodigies on their instruments. They're so fast. They know the language. They know the vocabulary. They speak it's like they speak a different language when you're in the room. It's like, at least for me, the first time I was in there, it was like, okay. I was mad intimidated, man. I was mad intimidated, but, like,
I can totally understand.
Yeah, but, like, making that kind of music was something that I had never done, and it was cool. It was like, wow, you can do that, you can do this. Oh my God, that's how you make that. So I was learning so much.
Probably makes you feel like you're a superhero too. Like, you're like, whoa, you made me sound like this.
Totally, you stack like 14 vocals unison. She took me into the wild.
Yeah, and those like explosions, I could see pyrotechnics associated with it.
Totally, man. But yeah, it's definitely a shift sonically as opposed to what I had done before, which is very organic and acoustic.
And yet still you. But again, I think that's also where this, like, you are coming out of the chrysalis here to be Galen instead
Untamed freedom, bro.
Untamed freedom, but not the Mystic Fool anymore.
Untamed freedom. The Golden Door, super raw, super intimate, super there. Me and a piano. I'm free. Super raw, super there. But then you got, like, Silhouette and Anyone Like You.
That was the other one I wanted to
make
sure we talk about. Anyone Like You is this awesome love song, really.
It is a love song.
Of absolute commitment.
Man, I never found anyone like you, Phil. You are the true one. Cue the song.
There we go. Yeah, that's back to mantras. Life is like an ocean is at the end of the song, but live it comes up and you play with a lot, including with the audience and loop it, and that's very cool. But you must be attached to that phrase.
Life is like an ocean.
Yeah.
Life is like an ocean. The ocean is untamed. The ocean is beautiful and blue and deep and vast, and everybody goes to vacation in the tropics and they love sitting by the ocean and listening to the waves crash and listening to the water, enjoying a swim. A tsunami comes, torrential rain, hurricanes, flipping boats, capsizing, sharks and eels and what's the one from Finding Nemo? Barracuda, like a whole all live in the ocean.
I love that Finding Nemo was inspiring right there.
Life is like an ocean. You will get things that you never expected. You will get beautiful moments. You will get massive catastrophic destruction. You will get the entirety of everything.
Sure.
And it will all be beautiful if we decide, you know. And it also doesn't have to be. It can be shitty. It can
right.
crash on a surf. Like, if you're shredding and you shoot the curl and, like, you duck wrong and, like, bam, you're down and you're under the water. Like, you drown in the ocean. But you also, like, did you see the Olympic surf? Did you see the Olympic surfer Brazilian guy shot? Oh, my God. There's the shot. It is so epic, man. This guy scores a perfect 10, which has never happened in history. He carves off a wave after the perfect 10 happens, and he jumps into the air, and he stands up with a 1, and his board is fully parallel to his body right next to him. It's like the most, like, 1 in a million shot. You could never take that shot ever again. So epic. But, like, life is like an ocean, man.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep it from feeling blue. But I never found anyone like you.
It is. It's also fun that is in that song where it's this, like, I'm sharing how much I'm in love with this other person and how unique they are to me and my heart. And then you're also still giving these worldly commentary of...
It's genius, man.
It is.
It's
See, now
genius.
we're getting much more comfortable in this skin. I love it. But yeah, I mean... That's the through line of there's still going to be some Mystic Fool in the Galen Deery music.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's because it was this genuine part of the journey.
I mean, yeah, I don't have to look like it anymore. I don't have to speak about it anymore. I just breathe. I just breathe.
Yeah. So you mentioned Silhouette. What do you want to tell me about that song?
Silhouette. I mean, that's another one about my dearly beloved. I mean... At the time, she was walking away, and I was like, "No," you know. I was in a spot for sure of like contemplating like what the hell is about to happen, and yeah, Silhouette is just like the walking away, shining light in my face, like more a headlight than like sunrise style.
Right.
But yeah, Silhouette is, I mean, it's a very, like, banger tune.
Totally.
Like, it's a anthem, you know, what do you call it? Stadium rock tune. Yeah. But, like, the messaging is very, you know, I don't know, what would you call it? Like, melancholy. It's very dim.
I mean, it's somewhat, you know, regretfully accepting.
Yeah. And, you know, it's funny when we, like, sing words that are sad in a happy way.
Sure.
There's a lot of songs that are like that. None are coming to mind, but there are many of them.
Yeah, it comes up on the show all the time where people like to write a song where the words don't match the theme
Totally.
of the sonic element of the
And that's when it works.
Yeah.
That's when it works.
Yeah. You know? I love when somebody might have that realization. Like, they find a song that they like, they haven't quite processed the lyrics yet.
Right.
And all of a sudden they start realizing, wait, this song is about this.
Right, yeah.
Anyway, but let's talk about Heartbeat, because Hannah actually sings on that song.
Hannah does. Yeah. That was the coolest thing ever, dude. I just want to shout out the team of producers that I was working with. Justin Spalding, Aaron Rizzo, and Lorenzo Maldonado. They were some of, like, the coolest guys to work with ever. They knew everything that they were doing, and I would bring in these songs barely even written, barely even started.
Yep.
And they would help me bring it from the ground up into, like, what you hear on the record. So many of them were not songs. You know?
Right.
And, like, I'd bring an idea. They weren't finished songs.
They were songs.
And we would write lyrics. We would write melodies. We would write, you know, an instrumentation. Lorenzo had this epic breakdown in Fool for You with the, you know, the dubstep EDM breakdown. It was like, wow, man, like, you can make that? Like, let's do more of that. You know, it's like the horizon opened up completely, and, like, I felt free. There was no limit, you know. It was total open possibilities. In the case with the Heartbeat tune, we didn't know what we were going to call that song. Originally, I think we were going to call it Masquerade, because when we were writing it, we were in the basement, totally stoned, and, like, I was just playing the ukulele, and me and Hannah, we were like getting comfortable with each other, and like I had been writing music a lot and like encouraging her to like help me with this song, help me with that song. What do you hear here? What do you, what are some words that you'd like to hear? And so she gradually like opened up a little bit more of her voice and her like creative thing, because she has a great ear and she has great taste.
Yep.
And with this song, like I think you can really tell, because this song was 100% a co-write all the way through. I had like this cool progression, and we were just sitting together and just riffing. We changed the lyrics a bunch.
Yep.
I'm sitting on the kitchen counter playing the uke, and she's standing there, and we're like, nope. And then we go off and do whatever, and then like pieced it together.
Absolutely. And
so
then it
like,
clicks. Like, when you got it.
Yeah. And then we finished it in the studio. So that was like a year and a half to finish that song. But when like Song for Us on the record took 4 hours, start to finish. Wrote it, recorded it, produced it, mixed it, mastered it, done. 4 hours.
Love it.
We're like other songs. So it's like the creative process is God in drag, dude. Just poking us the whole way through. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, totally.
Yeah,
it can be frustrating, but like if you just lean into that and go, I'm not completely in control of where this is coming from.
I don't want to be, man.
Right.
Why would I want to be?
Sure.
Like,
but it can be like, it's right around the corner. Why can't I just achieve it? But the more you like grasp at it, the farther it's going to be away from you. You got to let it come naturally.
And you said it, man. I mean, that's why I'm surrendering my position right now. Like, I'm just giving it.
Yeah.
I'm giving it to God. I'm not giving up. I'm not giving away. I'm just giving it to God. I just mean
the universe.
Creative, like the creator, the great spirit.
The time-stopping thing is what I've come to be in search of, because like you said, when you get a taste for that, there's nothing better.
Have you had that when you listen to music, when you go to see a show?
Yes. That's the one thing that I've had that since being younger, and it's like the magic of it happens. Back to the point of like, you can't control it. You could even have it happen in this one song by this one performer, and tomorrow the same exact performer on the same exact stage playing the same exact song might not create it. So it's this unexplainable element to music that's also shared. Like, it's not just one person. The whole crew is listening to it. Like, I've been in, like a brewery of like a person just performing in the corner that is like a free performer, and they'll just click with 50 people who were just all chatting, and all of a sudden nobody's talking. Like, that's a magical moment.
Jah is everywhere, man. Jah is everywhere.
And that too, like you talked about, it can happen with another human. Like, if you're out on a date or whatever, and suddenly like you felt like,
3 hours just went by.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the same thing.
It's
and
the
like,
best.
why would you?
You know what we're talking about? What?
So anyway, that's really, really good stuff. So you talked about the producers. Let's talk about the band. Like, they've been very supportive of all of this transition and journey, and that's really cool to see. Like, that's not common.
God bless Will Kosha. God bless you, Will Kosha.
Look right in that camera.
You are the greatest gift to every ear that you come across. Fucking rock, dude. If there was anybody that's born to do what they're doing, it's Will Kosha.
That's
straight
awesome.
up. The dude is hairy. The dude eats chips, and he shreds. That is like... That should be his Instagram bio.
That's right.
For sure. Eat chips and shred.
Right.
Hell yeah.
And
dude.
hairy.
And he would say that too. I'm not just making fun of him. That's what he told me to say, that shit.
That's fully endorsed by Will.
Yes, endorsed. But yeah, those dudes have gone the length with me. Wow. Pizza cone on the drum kit. Chops like nobody's business, man.
Yep.
Breaks it down. In the pocket,
Yeah.
vibes. Like, you tell him one thing, he knows what you're talking about. Carries it out every time.
Like you said, just, these people are all born to do it.
Totally. And David Beitler, I mean, I met him in college at a philosophy
Love it.
workshop, and him and I clicked instantly, and he ended up, it's such a funny story, dude. It's so awesome. I mean, me and Willie, we ended up doing a little duo set after Mystic Fool kind of disbanded, and I get a call from David randomly, and he's like, yo, man, I don't know what you guys are doing, but next time you're practicing, can I, like, just come hang? Not even wanting to play. Like, he just wanted to come hang out because
Love it.
he's a musician, or he liked to be around music. And I was like, dude, sure. Little did he know that in the back of my head, I'm like, man, I really need a bass player. I'm like scurrying around for a bass player because my brother had gone to college up in Boston. So I'm like, man, if this is going to work, we need a bass player. Not even considering David and like looking all over this person, messaging this guy. I actually messaged Bagita Kumalo if he'd be my bass player. And he said yes once.
Right.
But then he couldn't do the show. But anyway.
That's an amazing.
That would have been cool, right? He said yes though.
Listen, that's amazing.
Then,
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
But that's a crazy. Did he perform with you?
No, not yet. Right. Anyway.
Let's get that.
So yeah, so David ends up coming by, and we're chilling in the basement just jamming, and he's, you know, totally just like thumping along and like dig his vibe. He was just like super cool in the zone with us, and
right.
I end up looking at him and I'm like, yo, we're going on tour tomorrow. You're coming. And he's like, oh. And he's like, I can't. He's like, you have to. And he's like, man, I can't. I was like, next time. All right, next time. And then when we get back from the tour, he ends up just, you know, playing bass with us, and it felt so good. Like he did the things. It just felt right. When it feels right.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
You know, that's it. And we love each other. You know, me and Willie grew up together playing music at the School of Rock. Same with Pete. Pete was in the school with us, and we grew up playing all the classic rock, you know, anthems of the 60s, 70s. And so we knew each other's musical background, and we just knew each other. And so we were brothers first.
Right.
And so now, like, being in a band with your best friends is like, you can't ask for anything.
I know. That's amazing.
And we sound really good.
Yes,
Shit,
you do.
Dude, we sound good.
Yes, you do.
Right, Ryan?
Really good.
You said a quote when we chatted. It was last summer. You came on during our Music Fest live streams.
Yes.
And it's rang true as soon as you said it, and it's been something I've just kind of like, it stayed with me. That you said you were going to continue to play the music as long as that's the calling, that's the loudest voice on your shoulder. And I just think that's a really, really good way to put it, especially with that acknowledgement of all these other voices on your shoulder. Yeah. But to have it be the loudest one is obviously very telling.
Yeah.
It's what you're meant to do.
It's pretty loud, man. I mean, I'm at work, I'm driving, and like all I'm doing is just humming to myself new
stuff,
riffs, new melodies, and it's just like, yeah. I mean, that's what I can do. That's what I can do.
Yeah.
That's what I can do. That's what Galen can do. You know, and why not do it? Why not? So, if I can do it, I'm gonna.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that just makes sense. Like, as long as it feels right. As long as it feels right.
And that's where you talked about it wasn't feeling right when you hitched it to capitalism. And to let that go is hard because now it can't be exclusively what you do.
Right.
But if it was affecting the creation, if it was affecting the art, you had to.
What am I without music?
Yeah.
I don't want the answer to be nothing. You know?
Right.
I am so many things. But I really love to rock out, and I'm really good at it, and we sound sick.
Yeah.
And I have put everything over the past 3 years into this album, and I am honored genuinely honored to give it away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that it is no longer mine.
That's
it is
so
now
funny that you put it
everybody
that-
else's.
So many artists say that. It's mine until I release it, and then it's everybody's.
It's true.
Yeah,
That's
it's
why
so
we
true.
all say it. It's because it is true.
Mhm.
Like now, it's all up for interpretation.
Mhm.
It's all up for, I mean, I do it to songs. Like that song means so much to me, but like when the artist wrote it, it's like meant something completely different to them at the time. And so that's what that means. It's like it's no longer mine, which is like a release, dude, because
Sure.
I've been holding on to it
Mhm.
so long, and like now I can finally.
Right. Right. Well, music is that art form that's meant to be shared. Like, you potentially could paint a painting and put it on your own wall and never show it to anybody. But if you create a song, it's meant to be at least listened to, if not also sung along with or danced to.
Same with a joint, man.
It's
I
different
mean,
kind of art.
yeah.
But sure.
You pass that. You share that. The
That's right.
moment is better.
Puff, puff, give.
Puff, puff, give. All right. Freaking Philip Reese, everybody. Where's my applause button?
But what's the next? Like, where's the vision taking you? What do you kind of?
All right, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I know what you want to know.
Mm-hmm.
You want to know if you have backstage tickets
Right.
to the sold-out Red Rocks show in Colorado.
So I'm pretty sure Galen did that on purpose. This was edited by them and brought it this way. So I think that's awesome that he ended it right where he was going to talk about what
That's
we all want to
brutal.
know.
I'm literally like, oh, I know what you want to know. I'm like, waiting.
Yeah, I think that's great. But such a great conversationalist, great human. Like, I just love the stories. I love we get super deep and then he gets funny so that it pulls us back out of there. We don't spend anyway.
You know what I found most unique?
What did you think?
about it? And with all of these that you do. So how many times have you talked to him? I mean, obviously you've talked to him many times, but how many times has he been part of the show?
On the show, that's the
Only
second
the
one.
second
Like
time.
that's correct. Yeah.
And, you know,
yeah.
I felt like it was just a continuation of the conversation to a large degree, and which was great. So you were able to go into things that you don't have time with necessarily, or the familiarity, or all these different things. I mentioned earlier how, I mean, I've known, my son was in School of Rock and
right. Yeah. I wanted to point that
so
out. Yeah.
that's how I know Galen. I was seeing him back when he was on that stage in high school and everything.
Sure.
And progressing. And so it's kind of like this. It was great that you touched on the earlier records and as well as new stuff and his transformation. It's been such a exciting or interesting time for me to be able to see and hear, and probably for you as well, his artistic and life, like being able to touch base throughout that entire thing and see.
Absolutely.
It's one thing I know a lot of times your shows, you start off with, okay, well, let's start at the beginning and how'd you get into music?
Right.
Here, it's kind of like you're having all these episodes doing that with Galen. It's really fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll link to the other time that we spent time on the air here. It was actually during Music Fest. So it's a shorter, more like 20-minute type dive into things, and he plays a song live. And so that's very cool. But there's some really cool conversations in there. You heard me even quoting some of the things that he shared, because he is like just such a deep thinker, deep emoter, and
be a love
that
finder.
it pours out of his music.
Hug a tree, but look for ivy first. Puff, puff, give. I mean, there's just full of things here.
That's right. But yeah, that's cool. Like how 3 of the 4 members kind of grew up together, went to School of Rock together, and then like that's what I was going to point out was your son Jay is a musician as well, currently at Berkeley, and was at the School of Rock, phenomenal bass player. So that's where some of that connection comes from. But also, just as you're an avid lover of live music, the way I am, so you've often just seen these bands, and I know I'm full of flowery superlatives and whatnot, but I genuinely mean it. Like, I think his music is unique and genius and fills the stage. Like, again, it's 4 people and it sounds like 20. Like, it's very, very
been, cool. His songwriting is really great, but his instrumentation, I mean, and I think you brought up a really good point with his new album. Like, there's just not just an evolution, because evolution almost sounds like it keeps on getting better. It's new. It's just always developing, not better, not worse. It's just a constant, bringing something new to it.
Iterations almost. Yeah. Yeah. And then I wanted to mention here, so if you do get a chance to see him perform live, this is his shows that are coming up. That's really tiny, so I'll include it in the show notes. But basically, June is when he's doing his Soul on Fire tour. And what you can see there is it's going to be in Ohio, in Missouri, in Tennessee, and then in New York. And again, he just performed here in Bethlehem, but I'm sure he's got other stuff in the works for the more local scene here in Philly or what have you. But these are going to be some great shows. And like I said, I recorded some of my favorite song off this new album is called Lonely Nights. And so I'm going to play that off the credits here. And then what we can do is also share with that. Like I said, he's going to give a little bit of the backstory of how all the music came together. And I just thought it was another little peek, a fun peek into, who was a part of it and how it went out and somewhat, because he kind of talks about how someone dared him to do it and he did it. And then here it is. And so I think that's very, very cool. But so thank you to Galen, thank you to Ryan from Zeptepi, and thank you to you, James, for joining tonight.
Always
this is
a pleasure. It's great. I mean, it's interesting. So I regularly watch episodes. I technically watch it on YouTube, but a lot of times I'm doing other stuff, so I kind of like take glimpses. And so, this time I'm watching the whole thing, visually as well. And it's just if you're a podcast listener, every once in a while, catch it on YouTube, because catch the show on YouTube, because it just brings a whole different dimension sometimes.
Yeah, I agree. I think it is. I tell people who ask, it's built for the visual plus the audio. The audio is solid, hopefully, if I'm doing it right. But I think there is an added layer too. Again, like, it's not even, I'm not trying to say that's me. I think it's the storyteller, it's the musician, especially when they're performing. You want to see them play as well as listen to them play. At least I do. So I feel that I'm glad to hear that is adding that extra layer of enjoyment to the experience. But can't wait till the next time, James. You're a lovely
I
co-host
appreciate
to have.
it. No, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure. Always here. Got my Music Fest mugs waiting for a month.
I do love that background. I need to improve my background.
Take care.
All right, Phil,
Thanks so
let's
much.
say goodbye to everybody.
James, I think you show up in the bottom. There you go. You just walk by. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Your Next Favorite Band. We'd like to sincerely thank Galen Deery for joining us and telling us all the stories and the reasons why to listen to his music. See what I did there? And also thank you to Zeptepi Studios for letting us record there, as well as Ryan Walsh, who is basically running that whole show over there along with some other people. But he ran these recordings, and it came out so beautifully. So thank you for letting us use that. There will be links in the show notes to all of this stuff, especially Galen's brand new music, his Spotify channel, YouTube channel. He's got the great videos are out there. He shot gorgeous stuff for this music as well. We shared the one off the top, but there's a couple others in there. And then he's also got some live performances that he recorded at Keiko Studios, and that's going to come out as well. So live performances of these same songs as well are going to get released sometime in 2025 as well. As always, our hope here is to bring you your next favorite band. And so if you tuned in tonight because you already knew Galen or Zeptepi Studios or James McLaine, thank you so much. We hope you like what you heard and what you saw. And so you could hopefully consider subscribing. either on YouTube or on your podcast platform of choice. And also, if you could, give us a rating and a review. That really helps us out. But we would love to bring you your next favorite band in a coming week, or your next favorite band may already be out there. NextFaveBand.com has over 150 interviews that you can go and find your next favorite band. Hope to see you at a live show soon. And stick around for one more song from Galen Deery and The Reason Why. Here is a little backstory on the brand new album release, Asa, as well as the song Lonely Nights from Galen Deery and The Reason Why.
3 years ago, I went up to Syracuse on basically a dare. I went with Hannah and we went up there and we recorded this song with the Syracuse guys, the Candy Shop, Aaron Rizzo, Justin Spalding and Lorenzo Maldonado. There's so many people to acknowledge with a project like this. 3 years of creativity and time and money and effort and energy and travel and, miles on the road. There's a few really standout people here tonight, though. I want to honor my grandparents, Stephanie and Tomias, who are here. It's hard to talk about, but they really did something special for this music, and I love you guys so much. Thank you. And they don't have earbuds in tonight, they can hang with loud rock and roll still, and I respect that. I want to acknowledge the Zeptepi crew who are here tonight. Christian Mikio and Brian Walsh. You guys really captured so much cool stuff with us, man, and thank you for keeping the enthusiasm. I love you so much forever, bro. Thank you. Here's Lonely Nights.
The fire.